If you're over 50 and still working, what you've been feeling just showed up in data. There's now a measured productivity gap inside companies. It's not small. It's 17 times. Not 17%, 17 times. A 58-year-old marketing director submits the same campaign report she submitted for years. Her colleague uses AI, finishes in half the time, adds forecasting models, adds predictive segmentation, adds automation she did not even know was possible. Same job, same company, same software access. One of them just became exponentially more valuable. And here is the part nobody is saying out loud. The gap compounds. Because the person who finishes first gets the next project, the next visibility, the next promotion track, while the other person starts to feel slower. Not because she is, because she was never shown how to use the tool. OpenAI published a report in February 2026. 1 million business customers, 9,000 workers surveyed. The top 5% of AI users are getting 17 times more value than the median worker. 17. This is not a hype. That's a measured output. And here is what the report does not mention. Not once, age. You see, when you ask any worker between 50 and 62 what their number one fear is, it's not retirement. It's becoming irrelevant at work. So now we have a number attached to that fear, 17 times. So today, I'm going to show you exactly what that number measures, why that same data proves you that you can close the gap faster than you think, and why the system that is supposed to protect experienced workers was written before the algorithm existed. Because this is not about intelligence, it's about access, and access is fixable. So here's what OpenAI's report actually shows, task by task. In coding, the top 5% get 17 times more value than the median worker. In writing and communication, 11 times. In analysis, 10 times. In how-to guidance, that's 9 times. In information gathering, 9 times. In creative work, 8 times. Those are not different tools. Those are the same tools used by different people. And the divide goes deeper. The same report shows that the top users generate 6 times more activity than the median. So in data analytics, they use the tool 16 times more often, even among workers whose companies already pay for AI. 19% have never tried data analysis. 14% have never tried reasoning. 12% never tried search. So the tools are sitting right there. The training to use them has not arrived. But here's a number that reframes everything. OpenAI's data shows that workers who use AI across roughly 7 different task types save 5 times more. We'll compare that to those who stick to about 4, not a little more, 5 times more. And workers saving 10 or more hours per week are using 8 times more credits than workers saving 0. The gap compounds. The more you use, the more you save. The less you use, the further behind you fall. Now, here's the part of the report that kept me up. That entire study, 1 million business customers, 9,000 workers, 6 task types measured, every gap documented. It never mentions age, not once. And the number of the solutions anyone has offered for the number one pain point of Americans aged 50 to 62? 0. Not one program, not one product, not one piece of content that says, here's how an experienced worker closes the gap. Remember that number, 17 times. That's not a projection. That's a measured distance between people who were shown how and the people who were not. The report documents the divide. Who it is hurting has not entered the conversation. Well, here's a finding that changes everything, and it comes from the same report. Peer-reviewed research from MIT and Harvard confirms that AI levels the playing field. It does more for lower-performing workers than anyone else, not the experts, not the engineers, the people who were never trained. So 75% of enterprise workers now report completing tasks they previously could not perform at all. Programming support, code review, spreadsheet analysis, automation, work that used to require a specialist. And coding-related messages outside of engineering, IT, and research grew 36% in 6 months. Non-technical teams are doing technical work because the tools make it possible. So the data shows two things at once: a massive gap and the leveling force. Both true. The difference is access and training. If nobody built the training for you, the gap widens. If someone does, the research shows you close it faster than expected because the tools were designed to help people who are not already experts. The problem was never you. The problem is that nobody built on onramp. So if the tools work and the data proves they level the playing field, why is the gap still growing? Well, because the law that is supposed to protect you has not kept up. The age discrimination in the Employment Act was written in 1967. Its last major update was 12 years ago. It was built for a world where a hiring manager looked at your resume and decided you were too old. It was not built for a world where the algorithm scores your resume, your LinkedIn activity, and your digital footprint and filters you out before a human ever sees your name. The NIST, the National Institute of Standards and Technology, published a case study of exactly this: an AI system deployed as a job application filter. It processes your personal information from submitted resumes. The finding: bias gets baked into the dataset. Patterns in the training data lead the model to work against you, not because you're told to, but because the pattern was already there. Well, think of it like a bouncer at a club who only lets in people who look like the last 100 people who got in, not because there's a rule, because a pattern became the rule. And if you don't match the pattern, your resume, your vocabulary, your digital footprint, you never get through the door. Now, apply that to age. The training data connects recent graduates or the way younger workers write and search for successful hires. The model learns to filter out everyone who does not match. It does not need to know your age. It just needs to know your vocabulary. The Federal Trade Commission, the Department of Justice, and Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, and the Equal Employment Opportunity, all four issued a joint statement in 2023. They pledged to enforce against discrimination and bias in computer-run systems. 4 federal agencies signed the letter. None of them built a lock. The law is 58 years old. The algorithm is 6 months old. And the gap is not just in the law. It is in the entire landscape. AI training programs designed for workers over 50, it's unfilled. 0 program. Age-accessible AI tools designed with experienced workers as a primary audience, also unfilled. 0. No mainstream content creator, no government program, and no major tech company is addressing this intersection. That means if you're over 50, working and wondering whether AI is going to leave you behind, the honest answer is that nobody has built what you need yet. But that does not mean the tools cannot work for you. The data proves they can. The research proves they level the playing field. What is missing is a bridge between where you are and what the technology can do. There are 3 moves in your control. So I want you to act on them because the system is not going to hand you this. OpenAI data shows depth of use is a multiplier. 7 task types, 5 times more saving. So here's what you can do. Pick one task you do every week, just one. Learn how to do it with AI. Then pick another. Do not try to learn AI in the abstract. Stack the tasks. The data proves the snowball effect is real. 7 task types, 5 times the saving. So that's your ladder. If your employer gave you the tools but not the training, demand the training. The data proves that tools without training creates the divide. So you now have the number to back it up. 17 times. Show it to them. If a computer-run system rejected you, ask for an explanation. The NIST says you deserve 3 things: a reason why, prove it was fair, and what it meant for you. Most companies do not provide them. Just ask anyways. The question itself is pressure. And if you elected officials that are not updating the 1967 law for computer-based hiring, ask what that rules for testing are being applied to automated hiring systems. The algorithm does not wait for Congress. Neither should you. The marketing director who watched her colleague finish in half the time, well, the tools her colleague used are sitting on her desktop right now. The difference was never the technology. It was who got shown how. So now picture her 1 year from now. She stacked one task, then another, then another. She's not catching up anymore. She's leading the team, not because she was younger, not because she was faster, because she started 17 times. That's the gap, documented by OpenAI, measured across 1 million customers, between the people who learn to use these tools and the people the training has not reached. So experience is not obsolete. It's underused. You're not on the wrong side of the gap because you're too old or too slow or too late. You're on the wrong side because nobody built the bridge. So the peer-reviewed research proves it. AI does more for the people who need it most. The tools were designed to boost people who are not already experts. So that's you. And now you have the number, the data, and the first move. One task this week, stack from there. The gap is not who you are. It's where the training has not reached yet. I'm Han Brown for The Han Brown Show. I'll see you in the next one.